The Democratic Republic of Congo is said to be the most dangerous place on earth to be a woman. Over recent years, hundreds of thousands of women and girls have been raped, enslaved, and tortured as part of an intense fighting about ethnicity, power, and money. I will leave it to our honoree to testify to what he has seen and why rape has become a weapon of war. It is my distinct honor to tell you a bit about this compassionate and courageous man. Dr. Denis Mukwege is a gynecologist who founded Panzi Hospital in eastern Congo 14 years ago to provide medical care to women during their pregnancies. Dr. Mukwege and his staff were quickly confronted, however, with a dire health emergency, an epidemic of violence. Hundreds upon hundreds of women coming to the hospital with devastating internal injuries after being raped, gang raped, and held as sex slaves for long periods. He is now a leading authority in a very grim specialty, treating women who have been raped repeatedly. After years of surgeries, Dr. Mukwege said he knew he needed to address the root causes of the conflict or be forever, as he has said, sewing, sewing, sewing. And so his career took another turn. He became a human rights advocate, calling for the international community to protect the women of Congo. 1 year ago, in a speech at the United Nations, he demanded that the rapists, both rebel groups and government forces, face justice for their crimes. Only he used much stronger words. A few weeks later, back in the Congo, the doctor returned home after visiting a patient to find 4 armed men holding his daughters at gunpoint on his living room couch. Dr. Mukwege's bodyguard intervened and was shot dead. Dr. Mukwege fell to the ground, and the attackers fortunately fled, but no one was ever held accountable for that attack. Dr. Mukwege took his family to Europe, but it was painful for him to be away, knowing what the hospital would face with one fewer doctor. Hundreds of his former patients, some of the poorest women on earth, asked him, well, actually begged him to return. They raised money to buy a plane ticket, and they promised to organize groups of women to protect him in around-the-clock shifts. Dr. Mukwege returned to Congo in January. When his plane landed, there were women lining the road for 20 miles just to show him they meant what they said. Dr. Mukwege has resumed his work and has more protection, but his safety is by no means assured because he refuses to be silent about what Congo's women face and what must be done to stop it. Here is a video about Dr. Denis Mukwege.
Et aujourd'hui, ce qui est plus grave, c'est qu'on a même des enfants nés issus du viol qui sont elles-mêmes violées. Et donc, c'est un cercle vicieux qui n'a pas de fin. Je ne sais pas ce qu'il faut dire de plus pour amener les gens à être plus sensibles.
So why do you think that sexual violence has become the weapon of choice?
If you're a militia leader, if you're a warlord, it works to send out your troops to go rape people, and there's no accountability. There's complete impunity.
Et malheureusement, tout ceci se fait en public, en présence des maris, des enfants, et donc ça crée un traumatisme physique et psychologique, non seulement à la victime, mais aussi à toute la communauté.
It's an effort by militias to do a few things. It's a very effective way to terrorize communities, to drive people out. It's a way of undermining the traditional authorities in a way, because if they can't protect their women, then they're discredited.
Donc c'est une guerre en fait qui se fait sur le corps des femmes.
You see Dr. Mukwege interacting with his patients and asking them about symptoms and how they're recovering, and he looks like just one more extraordinarily compassionate doctor in a field hospital somewhere.
Au niveau de l'hôpital de Panzi, ce que nous essayons de faire par rapport à cette tragédie, c'est que les femmes viennent nous voir pour le problème physique.
If all that he did was run a hospital like Panzi Hospital in a place that is so underserved, that would be an extraordinary achievement. But he's also become a campaigner at the international level for peace, for women's rights in Congo. And in particular, he spoke at the United Nations and called for an end to the impunity that has reigned so long there. I think, and I think a lot of people think, that that was what led somebody to try to mount an assassination against him. He is antagonizing some extraordinarily powerful elements who have killed before and who will kill again, and he is threatening their wealth, their power.
Nous avons l'obligation de se mettre debout lorsque notre semblable souffre.
One of the things I find so frustrating is that the bad guys are listening and paying attention to Dr. Mukwege, and we in the public and the good guys aren't so much.
Il y a un espoir qui commence à naître puisque il y a quelques années, on ne voulait même pas en parler. En fait, c'était comme un sujet tabou.
Now, maybe the most elemental thing we can do is simply elevate Eastern Congo on the global agenda. One reason why the killings continue and the rapes continue is that there is impunity, and because no one is really paying attention.
Et lorsque nous n'agissons pas, c'est comme si nous-mêmes nous nions l'humanité des autres, et ça c'est très grave.
It is now my great honor to present Dr. Denis Mukwege of the Democratic Republic of Congo with the 2013 Human Rights First Award.
Thank you, Human Rights First, for this award, and to all of you for being here. I studied medicine to help bring life into this world, but much of what I see today is about destruction of women, of families, of communities. Our hospital was established to help pregnant women in Eastern Congo. But we confronted an urgent medical need for women there, an epidemic of brutality through the use of rape as a weapon of war. Through our doors come women who have been stabbed or shot in their genitals, raped by gangs, forced into sexual slavery, and pregnant by violent men and boys, and often infected with HIV, AIDS, along with their babies. Many times, we are reduced to tears. Everything is damaged, but we get to work. We operate. We fix what we can. and that is a lot. But despite our efforts, some of our patients will never again be able to control their bodily functions, and many will never be able to conceive. The physical injuries are staggering, but so are the psychic ones. How do you cope after watching your husband or your children killed? How do you go on after seeing your wife or your child raped in front of you? After being raped by a dozen men in front of all your community? So we also provide psychological care and safe haven. Eventually, healing does happen. When these women arrive, many tell us they want to die, but they live determined to live, and many of our former patients join us in helping other women. Their courage is remarkable. And yet, even as we celebrate their resilience, we are concerned because we know far too many of these women will be back. They return to their villages only to be raped again. I have operated some women 2 and even 3 times. These rapes are not only crimes, they are a part of strategy, malicious campaign in the terrible war between Hutus and Tutsis that burst into Congo in the aftermath of the Rwanda genocide. What began as an ethnic conflict has transformed to one about power and greed. Congo is rich in natural resources, especially the minerals needed to make electronic devices. The computers, cell phones, and other gadgets we all use. Rebels fight to control the mineral wealth in our mines, worth millions and millions of dollars. They are addicted to their profits, which they use to buy weapons. Rape has proven to be an inexpensive weapon and a tragically efficient one. Competing rebel groups use rape to drive people away, to dominate those who stay, to humiliate, and to prevent communities from surviving. Congolese government troops, backed by thousands of UN peacekeepers, have so far failed to defeat the rebels and protect the population. Few are brought to justice for these abuses. And when some of them are indeed convicted or sentenced, the reparation judgments are never enforced. People who work for justice are often threatened. So why will survivors come forward to press charges? Why will this crime can stop? The government and the rebels think metal and minerals are Congo's most valued resource. This is not true. The women of Congo are my country's most valuable resource. And this resource is being tragically, brutally decimated. We have recently seen that when a country uses chemical weapons on its own people, a red line has been crossed. Where is the line for Congo's women? Where is the outrage for condemnation? The women of Congo need you to stand with them, to be their advocate and their voice. While I am in the United States, I'm bringing their voices to meeting with leaders at the highest level of the United Nations and the US government. I'm telling them, I, my staff, and our patient hope that they will show a level of courage that matches that of Congo's women. I dedicate this award to them, and I urge you to join me in being a voice for them. Thank you so much.